On Christmas Eve in 1945, a house fire broke out in a small town in the hills of West Virginia. It began after midnight. Most of the family was asleep. Within minutes, flames spread through the wooden structure, bright against the winter darkness. 5 children were believed to be upstairs. By morning, the house was gone, and yet, when the ashes cooled, no remains were found. The Sodder family lived in a modest home outside the town of Fayetteville. George and Jenny Sodder had 10 children, 9 of whom were home that night. The evening had been ordinary. Presents were opened early. Younger children stayed up later than usual, excited by the holiday. Eventually, lights were turned off, doors secured, and the house fell quiet. Sometime after midnight, Jenny was awakened by the sound of an object striking the roof. She listened but heard nothing further. Not long afterward, she smelled smoke. Fire had already taken hold in the lower part of the house. George attempted to reach the children upstairs, but the staircase was engulfed. The flames spread with unnatural speed, filling the home with heat and choking smoke. The parents and 4 children escaped outside. 5 others remained above. George tried to reach them by ladder, but the ladder was not where it was usually kept. He attempted to start his trucks to drive beneath the window and climb onto the roof. Neither engine would start, though both had worked the day before. Neighbors arrived as the house burned to its foundation. There was no way inside. By dawn, nothing remained but smoldering debris. Authorities concluded that the 5 missing children had perished in the fire. The official report listed the cause as accidental, likely electrical. But several details unsettled the family. No human remains were recovered. Investigators argued that the heat had been intense enough to completely consume the bodies. George found this difficult to accept. Household objects had survived in the rubble: appliances, springs from mattresses, fragments of metal. If those endured, why not bones? Other oddities emerged. The family's telephone line had been cut, not burned. Witnesses later reported seeing a man near the house that night. Another claimed to have seen the missing children looking out of a passing car hours before the fire. A bus driver reported spotting individuals throwing balls of fire at the home. None of these accounts could be verified conclusively. In the months that followed, the Sodders refused to accept the official explanation. They searched the site themselves. They hired private investigators. They placed advertisements offering rewards for information. One investigator suggested that the children might have been abducted, though no clear motive was established. George Sodder had been outspoken about his views on world events, particularly regarding Italy, his country of origin. Some speculated that this had angered certain individuals. Again, nothing could be proven. Years passed. The family erected a billboard along a nearby highway displaying the photographs of the missing children, along with a simple question asking for information. It remained there for decades, weathered but visible. In 1967, Jenny Sodder received an envelope in the mail. Inside was a photograph of a young man in his 20s. On the back was a brief message suggesting he might be one of the missing sons. No return address was provided. Investigators attempted to trace the letter but found nothing. The photograph became another fragment of uncertainty. No conclusive evidence ever surfaced to confirm that the children survived. No remains were ever identified. The official record remained unchanged. Fire, fatalities, case closed. Yet the absence persisted. The Sodder parents continued their search for the rest of their lives. They revisited the site, revisited the clues, revisited the unanswered questions. The house was rebuilt nearby. Life resumed in practical ways. But the uncertainty did not fade. What makes the case unusual is not simply the tragedy of a fire, it is the lack of finality. Most disasters leave evidence, debris, identification. A moment where speculation ends and fact begins. Here, there was only ash, and even that seemed incomplete. If the children died in the flames, the fire left no trace of them. If they survived, no clear path of their lives ever emerged. Either way, something essential is missing. The hills around Fayetteville remain quiet, much as they were that winter night. Trees grow where the original house once stood. Traffic passes the old highway routes where the billboard used to face the road. Snow falls there each December, soft and indifferent. The story lingers not because of spectacle, but because of absence. A sound on a roof, a fire that spread too quickly, 5 names without graves. History records many tragedies. Most settle into certainty over time. This one did not. It remained suspended between explanations, neither resolved nor forgotten. In the early hours of Christmas Day, the flames burned brightly enough to be seen from far away. By morning, there was nothing left to illuminate, only smoke rising into cold air, only questions drifting outward, unanswered. And somewhere within that silence, the possibility, however faint, that the story did not end where the ashes lay.